well, and what I'll do as usual is I'll just stop at the end of the first few items before we get to the big affiliate niche, and just to take any Q&A, and then at the end I'll have a general Q&A where you can ask questions on anything there or other SEO matters that you want to get into. So I assume I'm still coming through loud and clear, and let's kick off. So you can see that I haven't built up your expectations at all by labeling this the best webinar ever at all, so hopefully I can deliver on that. So just quickly, the agenda I want to run through on today's webinar is I just want to give a quick mention to Brian Tucker's excellent local SEO webinar last week. And I think the thing with that one, it's got a lot of great feedback inside SEO Traffic Hacks, and I think even if you're not into local SEO, I think there are actually a lot of good lessons applicable to general affiliate niche sites, any kind of sites, business sites online. There are a lot of good lessons to come out of that, so it's really worth having a listen to. Just before I go on, let me quickly jump over to SEO Traffic Hacks, and I just want to just show something there. So, for example, you may not have noticed these navigation tabs just up the top here, just under the title. So we can see webinars, Traffic Planet hosting, etc., all of those just to help. So if you're quickly looking for Brian Tucker's excellent webinar recording, you can just click on the webinar tab. And obviously the recording of this webinar will be here tomorrow, including any relevant links or extra resources like the PowerPoint presentation and anything else that needs to go in there. So moving back to PowerPoint. Over the last week, Dan Thies, and I'll go into this more in a minute, went through his manual penalty recovery process, and to me at least, and this video is available on SEO Traffic Hacks, you can have a look at it, and a link will be below this recording. You can see why going through that painful process, I don't know that it's worth it, to be honest, unless you've got a client who's absolutely, can't be wedged away from that, can't be driven away from their initial website. Then we'll get into that big affiliate niche that I want you to get into attack, and then we'll have the Q&A. So just to jump into, excuse me, Dan Thies's penalty recovery. If you don't know these guys, Dan Thies and Leslie Brody have been around for ages in SEO. They run a training program called SEO Brain Trust. That's about $300 a month to be in it. They also are quite well known as being sort of the SEO brains behind Stompernet from a few years back, as sort of a big internet marketing training kind of platform and program. Nothing disrespectful to either of those guys, but personally I just find their teaching style quite difficult, and for me anyway, I didn't necessarily get a lot out of it. And we do periodically have a membership there just to check at what they're doing, but for me it doesn't work, but maybe it can work for you, but that's just to give you a bit of context on those guys. So on the 85-minute video, which in a way was kind of a pitch for Dan's manual penalty removal service, and obviously this kind of, I guess you could call it SEO sanitation sub-niche now, getting rid of links and cleaning up for manual penalty removal is a booming business, it seems, in SEO. Doesn't really appeal to me, but it could have value for you. So according to Dan, it'll take about 8 to 10 weeks to go through the entire process to give yourself the best chance of succeeding. It will cost thousands of dollars to do it. It may not actually work at all, and it will involve a tremendous amount of link removal work, which obviously you can do yourself or hire someone to do or pay them to do it for you, and obviously their staff can go through the process. The thing about Dan's process there, and he may have gotten this at the very, very end of his presentation, and to be honest, I didn't kind of stay right all the way through. I obviously had sort of got the picture there, but I don't think they really got into alternative traffic vehicle options, and typically most of the time you can get a property, whether that's a parasite page or even a new website or an age domain. Normally you can get that back to page 1 in 2 to 4 weeks. It will cost a lot less than thousands of dollars, and you can get quite a bit of that traffic, if not all of it, back relatively quickly. And that's really my recommended best practice, is for your own sites, if you've got a manual penalty, is just to move on to other vehicles, because you can get that traffic back pretty quickly. Okay, so now on to this affiliate marketing niche. So this one site, and I'll have some proof of that in a moment, brought in over $3,700 in December, and really, you may not need another niche. This niche is so deep and so vast and has so many kind of sub-niches within it, and so many long-tail keywords that this may sound a bit corny, but I'm sort of hoping you'll come away from this webinar tonight thinking that this is a bit of a turning point in your online business career. And, if I were kind of smarter, I guess, about what I'm doing, I'd probably stop doing all SEO traffic hacks and I'd just focus on this one kind of super niche. And this isn't coupon codes, by the way, which we're still at the early stage of getting into, although that might work as quite a good element in conjunction with this particular niche. So the thing about this niche is that visitors to your pages in this niche ranking for these keywords are usually very much ready to buy, and you'll see why in just a moment. There's no persuasion whatsoever needed about the quote-unquote product, and it's unlike something like a ClickBank vendor, unlike a ClickBank product, where you really, most of the time, there are probably a few exceptions, but most of the time on ClickBank you have to convince the person with that kind of problem that this is the solution, this is a transformational thing that's going to work. And to me, that's quite a bit more difficult to sell. And the great thing here is that there's absolutely no persuasion needed about the product, as you'll see. As I say, vast sub-niches could be in the range of 75,000. That's probably too high, but you'll see why I've quoted that number shortly. An absolute ton of good long-tail keywords to go after. And this, just to give you some context on where this came from for me, one of the things I used to do a lot more, and I do much less of these days, is to kind of buy cheap WSOs that present a sort of miniaturized or supposedly working business model in whatever it is. It could be in any kind of niche, using any kind of approach. So I think this was like $7 or $17, and I bought it. It was probably like over 2 years ago. Bought on Warrior Forum, and in that particular report that I bought, the guy was recommending Craigslist as your primary traffic generator. And when I tried it out, of course, that didn't work because it was already super saturated. So what I did instead was just completely forget about Craigslist and just used SEO on it. But the funny thing is, in the sort of chaos and day-to-day busyness of everything going on here, and it sort of, I guess, has always been a bit like that, the sites that were set up for this particular business model were really more like SEO test sites. They actually weren't like proper affiliate marketing sites, but this thing just started to earn money. And I think you'll see why it converts really well in a minute when we get into the niche. But it was sort of a happy accident how this one came about through a WSO. And I think if you're actually a paid-up member of Warrior Forum these days, it's probably better if you go to something like the War Room, where people will often put up their previously, for sale WSOs, and you can kind of get them for free. You can find the odd gem in there. So this particular site developed fairly quickly into a consistent $1,000 a month earner. It still, in a funny way, kind of wasn't on the radar in our business, and it was just one of those kind of anomalies or curiosities. But then in December 2013, and I'll show you some affiliate stats from that in a minute, it just flew up, and the reason for that was there was kind of some new action in this niche, and I'll explain that in a moment. But in December 2013, it was $3,700 and something came through this one site. So as I say, it was kind of an ignored test site, had all sorts of awful SEO things done to it, but just kind of hung in there pretty well. In this particular niche, we're talking about a 12.5% commission, so considerably higher than something like Amazon, which could be 4 to 8%. The commissions are paid in the following month, so any commissions that you make in December are paid in January. It used to be with the main affiliate platform that I'm going to recommend, and I'm going to recommend that you forget all the others and just use this one because these guys seem to be, to me anyway, miles in front. It used to be that when a transaction was made, when you referred a buyer, that it could take actually 2 to 3 weeks to get approved, but it seems in 2014 that has really sped up, and now it's actually a few days, and I've never not been paid by these people, so it's pretty legitimate. However, the thing about this niche is you need to go about it in a particular way, and that's exactly what I'm about to roll through now, the right way to go about it. So let's get to the heart of what exactly we're selling here. Let me just check one thing in my GoToWebinar settings. Okay, all looking good. And being recorded, that's pretty important. So what is it that we're selling that kind of hits all of that criteria? Well, you might know these people, Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber, or Celine Dion. You probably heard of them. And you probably have heard of things like the show Wicked or Kinky Boots or Billy Elliot. And you probably heard of this little city called Las Vegas. So these are, in a way, kind of what we're selling here. So what we're kind of promoting through affiliate links are tickets, live event tickets. So there are, through this affiliate platform that I'm going to come to in a sec, you'll see that we can promote tickets to all kinds of live events. So, for example, music concerts, musical shows like Spider-Man or Phantom of the Opera, Chicago, sporting events, live events, festivals, things like that. So you can imagine if, for example, I'm a 14-year-old and I type in cheap Justin Bieber tickets, and then you land on Terry Kyle's website devoted to Justin Bieber cheap tickets, and there's a huge link there that says buy discounted Justin Bieber tickets. I didn't have to do any persuading. There's no this is the proven weight loss solution for you, like a kind of a ClickBank product or possibly other affiliate program. You can see that if someone's typing in, you know, like cheap Wicked tickets or cheap Wicked tickets New York or Spider-Man tickets Broadway or whatever, they're pretty close to actually booking those tickets. So a lot of that, we don't have to do that huge amount of pre-selling. And actually when you dig into it, and I think you'll be kind of stunned at the depth of events and genres on the affiliate network that I'm going to talk about, you'll just see how incredibly broad it is. So this is the niche that we're going after. It's selling or promoting tickets to live events. So the one that I'm going to recommend, that this is all through ticketnetwork.com. So at the moment they have tickets, or so they say, and they've got a lot, they didn't actually count them, for 75,000 events right now, and these guys pay the highest commissions at that 12.5%. They do have one stipulation. If you have a ticket comparison site where you're comparing Ticket Network with other ones like StubHub, I'm not sure if they have an affiliate program, but there are a few others that do. If you have a comparison site, that commission comes down to 9%. I've never done that. I've just stuck with promoting their own acts, and I've never used those other programs there because they always had lower commissions. If you're in the UK, obviously you can still access the US market. Ticket Network don't have any restriction on that. But if you wanted to promote through the UK, including through Ticket Network, you need to go through affiliate window. which if you're in the UK and you've done anything with affiliate marketing, you're probably familiar with them. So you can't directly go to Ticket Network for UK stuff, but obviously I'm in Bulgaria and my office is here, and I also have an SEO agency office in London, but we run all our Ticket Network affiliate stuff from Bulgaria, and it's absolutely fine. So you can literally run this business from anywhere, but typically targeting the US market where the most search volume is for. Now, a question that you might ask is, what about affiliate links on these particular pages? And the whole time I've been running these Ticket Network sites, I haven't seen any negative effect whatsoever. And in fact, I don't even cloak the links. They're just raw affiliate links. And actually, I've got tons of them. Not hundreds, but an awful lot, because I tend to build not so much show-specific sites. I tend to have more like sort of cheap ticket sites or discount ticket sites. So all of the pages tend to have links to sort of all of the main events, not all of them because there are thousands, but the main big selling events, Ticket Network, I have on these. So never been an issue. So let's jump over just to the Ticket Network site, and I just want to show you what's going on there. So here I am at ticketnetwork.com, and you can see on this left-hand nav bar here, obviously they just give you a summary of the biggest selling events here. So for example, under sports, we've got a ton of different sports, concerts, there are loads, theatre tickets, the Vegas, there's a massive amount of search volume for Vegas type show tickets. We haven't yet kind of got our act together to really go after Vegas tickets, but I desperately want to do that. And in fact, if I jump into one of these categories, so for example, I'll jump into concerts, I'll browse all concert tickets. You can see here that there are just, if we go into, just jump into one of these, so maybe M here. You can just see all of these keyword rich. These could have really good search volume, so actually you need to come along all of these and just kind of have a look at search volumes. Just to show you what I mean, let me just jump around a bit on a couple of pre-prepared pages here. So for example, on Las Vegas show tickets on Ticket Network, we can see here there are 450 pages of results on Las Vegas shows, and obviously you need to go in with the names of the artists involved, magician, the show, whatever it might be, the musical. Just put those into Google Keyword Planner and start doing some good keyword research. I find one of the good ways to do this, and of course I cover this in keyword research inside the training, is to pull out the URL, excuse me, pull out the URL of the highest ranking site in that niche, and just see what Google thinks that site is relevant, that page is relevant for, and that will give you the good basis to go find more good keywords. And you can also use Keyword Snatcher as well, or a tool like it. Yeah, we've had a look at all the events there. And here's a kind of a left field one. Even on Ticket Network, look at the amount of orchestra-related tickets here. I mean, you could just do orchestras, and if you think there isn't much search volume for that, let me jump over to the Keyword Planner where I just pulled out a few. So here, for example, on orchestra tickets, we've got things like Trans-Siberian Orchestra tickets, 10,000 searches a month. Those guys might be performing kind of late in the year. It could be a Christmas thing, I'm not sure. Down here on Trans-Siberian Orchestra, 135,000 searches a month. And obviously that isn't as kind of narrowed down as tickets, but you can see other one. Okay, we've got Justin Bieber there, don't know how he gets into orchestra. Chicago Symphony Orchestra gets 12,000 searches a month, and there are a bunch of others. So you can see that even just on something that's, I don't know if it's obscure, but it's not necessarily super commercial mainstream, you've got like just a ton of potential there to research and potentially kind of go after. So just having a look at search volumes on some other guys. So Obviously, on the top level name, that's not as narrowed down to tickets, but it might still be worth kind of going after at the long tail level. But you can see here you've got Miley Cyrus getting 4 million searches a month. One Direction 2.2 million. One Direction Tour, which is a much better keyword, of course, to go for, 90,000. One Direction tickets, 74,000. And then you kind of, you get down to a few others here. So you can see there is, plenty of search volume there. Here we go on some other orchestras. So we've got Manchester Orchestra, 18,000 searches a month. Dark Star Orchestra, whatever that might be, 18,000. These are all ones that do have Ticket Network offers, and you can link to those. Over in Las Vegas, I didn't go through this exhaustively, but you can do that if that appeals to you. But you've got things like Las Vegas shows at 165,000 searches a month, and there are like a lot, so many kind of spin-off long tails on these. Blue Man Group, 74,000. Blue Man Group Las Vegas, 12,000 down here. So a lot of search volume there. And as you saw with the orchestras here, if I would let me just go back to another example here in sports. So for example, let me go to something like NFL has just finished, I believe. I don't know, WWE tickets. I don't know if that actually has that many events. Actually, they do. So we've got all these events now here, February, March, and you can come in here and kind of look at all these for potential keyword research and going after those terms. And you're going to get that 12.5% commission on sales through that. Just a quick observation from our experience with these kinds of sites. Text links tend to work much better, get clicked on a lot more than image links. I'm not sure why, but you need to kind of make your site sizzle, and obviously that is going to depend on the sub-niche. And I recommend that you're going to be building a site kind of in this style here. So it's going to probably resemble something like this. We've got Love Theatre, Theatre Mania. So you can see here they've got a bunch of kind of links, or there might actually be a direct theatre booking service, I'm not sure, on Theatre Mania. Telecharge here, looking like this. All these links here, you can see here, all of these kind of things. I'm not sure about Go Tickets, might be direct theatre one, could be an affiliate, not sure. Lastminute.com, better known for travel, but even they're kind of in the theatre show ticket business as well. Best of Broadway, best of Broadway, I should say, .com. You can see here you've got a bunch of links. Gives you a bit of an idea of the style. So I think you're kind of looking, my best advice is to make it kind of like a cheap tickets, a discount ticket site, that kind of thing. And I'll come to how that affects the terms of service and Ticket Network in a minute. So the search volumes are huge. We've had a look at those Google Keyword Planner results, and as we know, the Google Keyword Planner tends to actually hide a lot more search terms than it reveals, so you need to dig into that through some other methods, such as Keyword Snatcher and things like that. I'll put links to my preferred method under this recording. Long-tail rankings are all that you need. For a lot of the time, when we were just sort of mucking around with it as a test vehicle, one of that main site in 2013 and probably 2012, I can't recall, I don't think it ever got higher than position 5 for any of the terms, even long tails, because it was just, as I say, a test vehicle that we just kept hammering with. Excuse me. However, we've gotten a bit more serious about this niche now, and I'm not worried about competition because you've seen just how vast it is, and in a second I'll show you exactly how you might drill that down and focus it, because it's absolutely huge. But using the SEO Traffic Hacks Blueprint, the exact one that's in the SEO training, I have good page 1 rankings right now for high volume terms. So for example, ones that are around 30 to 40,000 a month. One of those is in position 2. That's with a 1-month-old new PR0 site up against the biggest names in ticket sales. So that blueprint can serve you really well. I think from a buyer conversion point of view, though I haven't directly tested this, it's just kind of my educated guess on it, probably this is better suited to normal websites than parasite pages. If they just have that look of kind of a cheap discount ticket site more than just a parasite page, that's probably going to work better. So with that SEO Traffic Hacks SEO Blueprint, you can definitely come into this niche, and it's so rich, there's a lot to explore there. I want to give you as much information as possible, and I really want you to succeed and take this niche and actually act on it, because it's pretty rare that you can kind of get this level of disclosure and see exactly what and how in a specific niche is working. But I don't want to reveal my specific sites because they're backlinked with my private blog network sites. So I don't want those to kind of get harmed or anything. But I'm giving you all of the other information that you need, but you really need to act on it. And even if you're kind of vaguely looking at other niches to go into, but you're not sure about conversion, this is the one you really need to focus on, because it just works like gangbusters for the reasons that I've already discussed. Let me jump over to Ticket Network, to an account there. So I've got here, these are some sales stats from December last year. In this column here, you can see the actual amount that the person spent on tickets, and here is the commission. So you can see, for example, this is December. What have we got? What are some of the big ones here? So here's One Direction. This is on 2nd of December. One buyer spent $1,200 on tickets, and that was a $150 commission from basically a passive income site. You can see some other commissions here: $70, $176, $89, $99, and they just kind of tick away and they just add up nicely. Here we've got $94 commission, down here $164, $68, and so on. But and over here on the right-hand column, you can just see here that action I was talking about before was, I think One Direction just announced a new big tour or extra dates in the US. So you have a lot of these are kind of One Direction, that British boy band. Sales for them. We've got Book of Mormon, Kinky Boots shows there. I think up here we've got a Jay-Z sale, Kinky Boots, Beyonce. So it's kind of a bit mixed there. Luke Bryan concert here. So you can see that just to reiterate, if someone is looking for cheap One Direction tickets and they land on your page, this one here, they spent $1,300 on tickets, and my commission there was $164. So it's not bad from a passive site. Even if the commission rate is lower than a typical information product, the conversion is so much easier, and you don't have to go through that whole pre-selling persuasion step that you kind of need to with most affiliate sites. We saw with the Google Keyword Planner there are a ton of great Las Vegas show-related search terms. You can dig into that one, focus on that one is an option. So let's talk about how you go about this. What is your monetization SEO blueprint, the steps? So the first thing you need to do is, basically decide to act. That's pretty important. What you need to do is join Ticket Network directly or through Commission Junction, Linkshare, Innovo, or Impact Radius. When we joined a couple of years ago, or 2.5 years ago, I think there are only 2 options, and one of the drawbacks we have there, I think, is if you join directly through Ticket Network, which they may not even allow anymore, they may have changed the way they do things, you can't really see tracking link information. But if you're using something like Commission Junction, I believe they do have a method for doing that, for kind of tracking, creating unique tracking IDs. That's what Ticket Network told me a while back. You do have to check and see that that's still the case. Now, it could be that you need a site for evaluation. Sometimes sites, programs are on automatic approval, and sometimes you need to present a site. And you're going to be building a site anyway, so it's not a biggie. You're just going to build something that looks pretty good. Then you need to come and obviously do your keyword research for specific sub-niches. So you can come back to Ticket Network, dig right through that site. If it matters to you, you might want to build sites that are in event types that you really like baseball or American football, whatever it might be. I do recommend that you set up the site as a discount kind of ticket site. Now, technically, you just check the wording, the current wording on where this is at on Ticket Network, but the last time I checked this, I think it was a few weeks ago, you can't say that you can get the cheapest tickets for X event here, click on this link. That does violate the terms of service technically. But you can word it in a way where a discount is implied. But because I wasn't worried about that, and this is kind of a test site, I basically always violated that, and I've sort of said get the cheapest such and such tickets here. Now you may not want that risk, and for us we could fix that. We probably have some leverage with Ticket Network anyway if they ever reacted to it, but they've never checked, they've never sent an email, they've never had a problem with it. Doesn't mean it won't happen in the future, but hasn't been the case for the past couple of years. So then what you want to do is add plenty of text links on your nice site for whatever tickets. You do want images that are linked, of course. I do recommend some videos. Autoplay videos are quite good of the artists. But your text links will be something like, click here for massive One Direction ticket discounts. All you want to do is click on the link, get them over to Ticket Network where they're going to buy the tickets. Oops, I'm going a bit fast there. Just move my GoToWebinar control panel. So basically, in 20 seconds, your SEO campaign for your ticket site is going to be a press release foundation, private blog network, run some high PR links, and mono-silo is quite recommended as well. I would go after plenty of long tails with a high degree of anchor text variation. That's what I've done. In my experience, when you see these terms that have really high search volume, like One Direction with millions of searches a month, the long tails are absolutely huge. So you can go after that if you vary your anchor text quite a lot. If you remember a previous webinar where I was talking about the potentially forthcoming Penguin update where they could hammer search term anchors, that is a possibility. But it looks like it's a bit harder, quite a bit harder to rank if you don't have enough search term anchors in there. So I recommend that you do mix it up. You're going to need search term anchors and generics as well, and hopefully the generics that you've got in there will be, good enough to get you through that particular Penguin update if it actually comes in the future. So let's see, using these tactics that we just talked about, and hopefully you know well from being inside the training, you can target specific shows. You might target Wicked or Annie or Avenue Q or Phantom of the Opera. And you might target specific shows, or you could have a multi-show site, especially if you've got like a discount ticket sort of operation. You could target specific sports. You can target specific teams, of course. You're limiting down your search volume now, of course. You might target specific artists. And obviously at the moment, people like Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber, One Direction, all of those guys are really hot, and there's a ton of search volume for them. Whether you like those guys or not, kind of probably a bit irrelevant to the business model, but the fact is, there's a lot of search volume for them right now. You can also have a look at specific cities. So a lot of the big shows do kind of have national tours, so you could target the city. You might have some local, Google local stuff to compete with there, which you wouldn't have on a more kind of national term. You could also look at targeting things like specific festivals, or that Trans-Siberian Orchestra that I talked about earlier, which gets a ton of search volume at the end of the year, like it's a Christmas tradition or something it could be. You might target just their sort of annual event. You could also target a specific music genre and kind of look at building more of an authority site on it, like the orchestras or country music, whatever it might be, and that might be a good long-term digital asset as well. You can see here just the depth of possibilities in this niche. And obviously you can also look at USA and or UK shows. And if you've got your ticket network operation running well in the US, there's no reason through affiliate window that you can't do the same in the UK. So that is the presentation on ticket event affiliate marketing, and I'm not sure if I managed to address a lot of questions there. Okay, let's start at the top here. Yep. So Matt has rightly pointed out, he's been over on the terms of service. You may not use such terms as cheapest or lowest or any other superlatives suggesting unverified and unsubstantiated claims. Hopefully I covered that Matt, and it could be you might, for example, use the word discount. You know, if you want to play it safe, I go pretty aggressively on there, and as I say, they've never given me any heat about it. If they did, I'd just change it, and hopefully that would make them happy. Peter is asking, what keyword do you put in to find the authority site which you use in the keyword planner to get more keywords? Let's say, for example, that I wanted to target Phantom of the Opera. So what I would put in is Phantom of the Opera tickets, and then the top site or even top 5 sites, I would put that specific URL, not the root domain, but the one that was showing up for Phantom of the Opera tickets. I would put that into the Google Keyword Planner, and there's a slot in there where you can put it in, and it will just show you what terms Google thinks that page is relevant for. You can also do it for your own sites as well. I do recommend that. Donald has asked what hack. I'm not sure what you mean, Donald, if you can give me more information there. Peter has also asked, are you building your site theme around cheap tickets or around niche tickets, for example, orchestra tickets or Las Vegas tickets? A lot depends here on your keyword research, Peter. So if you have sort of a generalized overarching theme like discountticketstoday.com, probably already taken, I don't know. Within that, you might then have pages for specific orchestra tickets or specific rock concert tickets. Or you might just have a site dedicated just to orchestra-related tickets. It's entirely up to you how you want to proceed. Tony has asked, what kind of site do you have to build for CJ or Ticket Network or link share evaluation there? Just something that looks good. I think when we did it, we didn't actually need to submit a site, and it could be with one of those programs you don't need to submit a site, and I'll get one of the girls to double check that tomorrow, because it could be, for example, Tony, that CJ requires a site for evaluation, whereas link share don't. So we'll have a closer look at that. If that slips my mind, please just pop me a quick email tomorrow and I'll get one of the girls to just check on that. Clint has asked, do you recommend setting the sites up as an e-commerce looking site or use WordPress and try to make it look like the examples you showed? The ones we use are not WordPress because we found WordPress just a bit limiting and we couldn't quite get that professional polish that we wanted with WordPress. If you have access to some expertise or want to spend some money on, getting your WordPress customized, that could work. They need to look like a kind of these big. Let me just backtrack a little bit, Clinton. This will help, I think. When I was kind of preparing for this webinar, I went through a bunch of the kind of so-called heavyweights in ticket sales. Most of them were just awful, just horrible, and even the ones I showed you, a few of those were just terrible, in my view. But the kind of site you want is something that looks, especially if you're going for a bit of a younger audience, something that looks kind of cool and it's got good atmosphere. It might be heavy on images, for example, and it's got some videos going there, but also the prevalence of links there. We tend to use kind of HTML, PHP, and a bit of CSS, I think, sites. But just because we have that flexibility and we've got the people in-house to do that. So you might be able to make it work with WordPress, but we didn't go too far down that road. Halil has asked, Terry, how can we create content like a blog of 1,000 articles or 100 words content? I couldn't understand the website type. I think this is really a little bit like our coupon code sort of layout on the page. So imagine at the top of the fold, and we're not talking necessarily about visitors to your page with a huge attention span. So above the fold, or the top third or half of your website is packed with affiliate links. I know that's supposed to be really bad, but we do it. That just like loads in there, even on sub-menus with like just tons of them. Doesn't seem to be a problem for ranking. And up in that top half, you're going to have pictures, you're going to have some videos and things like that. Bottom half, that's where we have our content. So I think the minimum we use there is at least 500 words, and I think some of those pages have 1,000 words just there for SEO. But we know from scrolling heat maps that almost nobody makes it down to that level, but it's a good thing to have for SEO, I think. But actually now, because we want to really scale up in this, we want to do a lot more video intensive pages and maybe just write like a paragraph but have a ton of videos and see how that goes. I know Tony has had success with empty pages ranking, or very, very little content on the page. So that might work. We'll report back on how that goes, but video could be another option. Okay, scrolling through the questions. Let's see here. Donald has said, should your site cover several different or just one? Completely up to you, Donald. I've had the site that did all of that was under like a cheap ticket site kind of umbrella, and within that we had specific pages like Justin Bieber tickets, One Direction tickets, things like that. Dave has asked, are you using WordPress sites? If so, do you mind sharing what type of themes? Afraid not, Dave. Hopefully covered that above. Chris has suggested, I'm guessing a switchbox technique is a good idea here. If it violates the ticket network terms of service, you can set up a new domain. Absolutely. Definitely should be doing that. I hope you guys see the massive potential here, and I think actually when you look into the long tails, they're not that competitive, especially if you've got access to some good PBN links. Barry is asking, hi Terry, how competitive are you finding going up against the more authoritative ticket sales sites? Typically, we're just kind of tested a lot with long tail, Barry, but as I talked about in the presentation there, I've got a page at the moment. It's a brand new site, PR0, and we're currently in position 2 for a search term that has, I think, about 33,000 searches a month, and we're beating all the big guys. So that blueprint inside SEO Traffic Hacks definitely works. And another one today just tipped over onto position 10 on page 1, and that's a 40,000 a month search term. We want to get higher, but you can definitely beat those guys. If you've got good PBN links there, you definitely can do it. But the long tail is so rich that often even that might not be necessary. Neil has asked, wow, a load of questions here. That's cool. Neil has asked, what sort of domains am I using? Repurposed, branded, or ticket-based new domains? Basically, Neil, what I'm doing with these is going with brand new domains that I can then build a kind of branded name around, especially something there for like cheap tickets, discount tickets, this kind of thing. But you could just as easily do it with an age domain with PR, which will give you a bit of a head start. But as I've seen with these new sites ranking really quickly using exactly the same blueprint from the training, I'm just preferring the longer term value of just having that branded new domain. Peter has asked a great question, and this goes down to sort of the logistics management where it stops being passive actually. Shame on me, Peter, because I should have actually gone into this in my presentation. Peter has asked, are your affiliate links pointing to the actual event page or the niche or Ticket Network's homepage? We do link them directly to each artist's page on Ticket Network. So the Justin Bieber Tickets link on my site goes to the Justin Bieber Tickets page on Ticket Network. So that does require some monitoring, and obviously concert tours finish and new ones start. So there is some work involved there. Ticket Network do have an API, but we haven't got around to looking at that and trying to implement that, but that could be a possibility for sort of automating some of that as well. Matt has said, are you offering the promo code on your site so the retail me nots don't steal your commission? Not yet, Matt. We do have to get around to that. As you probably gather, things are pretty crazy here, and we do have quite a few things left undone that we have to get back to. Paul has asked, what if I haven't got access to a PBN currently? How would you go about starting the site? There are options there. You can build your own, for example, or you also can look at the possibility of going with blog networks that are public, but that obviously carries more elevated risk, but they do work. If you come along, when this recording is in the training tomorrow, Paul, if you want to just re-add your question there, I'll just go into more detail on that point, because obviously if you haven't got access to those resources yet, that can seem tricky. So if you can recall tomorrow, just go into where this recording is, just click on the webinar tab at the top, go to where I've added this recording, and I'll write a much more detailed response for you there, which hopefully will help. Jason has asked, the blueprint in SEO Traffic Hacks works. Which blueprint? There are many. The authority site one. Let me jump over there, Justin, and show you. So here I'm, excuse me, here we are on the training area. If I just scroll down, here we've got our current complete step-by-step SEO methodology, this one here. That's the one you need. Okay, moving on. Gary says, awesome. I'm just wondering how your brand new domain didn't do the Google dance, though. Anything in particular to avoid that? It's pretty unpredictable, Gary. It can one site, even sometimes like a parasite page, can dance around like a yo-yo in the wind, and others are just rock solid. I haven't seen actually that much Google dancing with these sites here, and probably generally not that much recently. Actually, it seems a bit more stable. Maybe I'm on a lucky roll at the moment, but I should go to Vegas. Just coming down here. Barry has asked, I have another one if you don't mind, are you finding any value in the EMDs anymore? Would you recommend going for a brandable domain name? The thing about the EMD is you do see a lot of examples, Barry, of it still kind of seeming to work well. There are lots and lots of examples where EMDs still do seem to have value, but it might be, there may be an element of correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation. And one of the things I'd try to keep in mind is if your site happens to come up for a Google human review. Now, having said that, obviously, like an affiliate marketing driven site with tons and tons of affiliate links is not going to look that great to a human reviewer. But I think EMDs are a bit of a tricky one. You've just got to be quite careful with those. And it's much easier just to go with a branded domain. And the ones that I've got ranking there very, very fast were not EMDs at all. They just had like a general discount ticket kind of name theme for the domain. Peter has asked quite a cheeky question. Shame on you, Peter. I'm joking. Would you be able to put a screenshot of the upper portion of the page loaded with affiliate links like you mentioned under the recording of the webinar? Just this section so your website wasn't revealed, or maybe that would be too much info for savvy reverse engineers. What I'll do, Peter, is I'll do a kind of a mock-up, but it's pretty straightforward. It's just kind of a right sidebar there above the fold that just says, I think we've got like a heading there, something like, get your discount tickets here, some, cliched heading like that. Under that is like Miley Cyrus tickets link. Under that, Justin Bieber tickets link. And all of those go to the relevant ticket network page. But I can come back. If it slips my mind, because there are quite a few things going on in there, please just repost under this webinar recording and I will mock that up for you. Glad to help, Paul. Jason has asked, how do you keep the site updated? Once the show is over, the tickets for it are expired and your affiliate link might go to an empty page. Absolutely. For a site with hundreds of links, do you keep a spreadsheet with event dates or something? In this case, I wish we were that organized, and actually we need to invest in a dedicated team, but we're just involved in so many projects, affiliate projects and other things. We do need to do that, and I think this is a case, Justin, of don't do what we do in order to manage it. But basically, when we can and when we have the resources available, we get somebody to go to Ticket Network, check what the latest concerts are, what are finished. You just go through and check the links on the page, and any updating that needs doing gets done. It might sound crazy and dumb, and it is, but we don't actually have really that good a systematized process for managing these ticket sites yet, but we do want to get more serious. The problem is kind of just recruitment, the time and energy and interviewing and all of that it takes to recruit good people, and then the training required and things like that. We have the resources to hire a lot, but actually finding good people to do all that's quite tricky. Moving on, next question. Andreas has asked, can you say how many visitors you have monthly on a site to generate the 1K in commissions? You kind of do have these kind of spikes and troughs, Andreas, but typically from memory, when it was pulling around $1,000 a month, probably we were getting something in the order, I know it wasn't that much, it might have been like something like 100 to 150 a day or something like that. I think it was in that vicinity, but if you post that question under the recording, I'll go back and double check on that. Glad to help, Barry. Peter, good stuff. Jason has asked a good question. Do you bother with social signals for ranking? I don't at all. The only thing I might do is just add it to a bogus Google Plus account, but I don't. I really just rely on those high PR backlinks to really do the heavy lifting, and they still do. In fact, even Matt Cutts recently, if we choose to believe him, came out saying that backlinks are still a fantastic element in determining quality search results, and they've looked internally, supposedly, at search results without backlinks and those with them, and backlinks are still really important. Barry has asked, how many PBN sites have you used to rank your main ticket site? Probably, Barry, it might surprise you when you go and look at those page 1 results. If you look at it in something like Market Samurai, you'll find some of those have like, thousands or 20,000 like backlinks or whatever. And typically, if a page is going to rank for me, usually it's going to do it with under 200 backlinks. So quite often I might just run it at 100 or 120, 150, but probably no more than 200 backlinks to get a really good page 1 position. So, and actually even on PBNs, you don't even need necessarily super high PR. So, one PBN that I use a lot for my own stuff, mainly my own stuff, is just like PR 2 to 4. But it seems that's enough, and just pumping those. But typically something like under 200, definitely under 300. I probably wouldn't build more links than that. Matt has asked, here's an example site, wickedthemusicaltickets.org, Wicked Appleton, WI Tickets. Do you think it's okay to use the brand or event name in your URL? You can, Matt, in the sub-page or subfolder, but if you put it in the domain name, you could potentially be asking for trouble down the track, and I've found that you actually don't need it. If it's in there somewhere, so let's say, my biggest ticket site at the moment, let's just for argument's sake say it's called onecheapshowtickets.com. So I'll have onecheapshowtickets.com/wickedtickets.php or .html. So I've got it in the title, but I've got no future legal issues because it's an inner page, or it could be a category, most likely a page. You may, depending on your level of kind of risk aversion or embracing it, might want to run with that in the domain name, but I don't think you need to. And I think, to sort of future-proof yourself against legal action, my best advice to you is to not do that and to just have it as like the page, the title of the page, the file name, that you've got on the page there will be absolutely fine. At least, in my experience, we rank all the time for all kinds of different shows and things just by having it as like the page file name rather than in the domain itself. So that's my free legal advice there, Matt, based on my many, many years in the legal profession. Not really, I'm joking, of course. Paul has asked, in terms of content, should you be targeting, say, 1 or 2 search terms per page, revolving around a show, team, band, etc., and therefore how many pages initially would you recommend? Let's say, for example, we go for a One Direction tickets page. So what I'll do is dig out what I think something like, 50 to 60 really good mixture of kind of longer tail, lower volume, and shorter ones, nice to rank for terms. Let's say I'm doing a 100 post run. I'll throw in something like 50 or so, keyword rich ones there, some long tails, some shorter terms. The others I'll use generics and the raw URL, and then come back and really see how that is. But the page itself is going to be optimized for one particular term or 2 terms, and I find the 2 best ones, Paul, are tickets and tour at the end of the artist name. So you'll see this when you start doing some Google Keyword Planner research. So if you've got One Direction tickets and One Direction tour, you're going to have all these kind of funny variations of that. Where can I get One Direction's tour discounts or whatever, all those kind of terms. But the on-page is probably just really targeting a couple of terms quite closely, and then the backlinks are going to go for a bunch more. How many pages initially would you recommend? You could just build a 5 to 10 page mini site. I get mini sites still to rank well. It really depends on your resources of time, money, energy, focus, those things, how many you can do. You can definitely start small and go from there. And between a press release and 1 or 2 blog network runs, even on a public one, you might be talking with an SEO budget there of $300, something like that, which could get you a whole bunch of page 1 rankings. And actually, if you remember my Paleo BuzzFeed experiment, that was because we used a lot of long tails in the links. We did get something like 32 or 33 page 1 rankings from that one BuzzFeed page. Now, admittedly, a lot of those weren't like super high search volume, but there were quite a few really good ones in there as well. Scott has asked, how specific are you getting with the terms? Are you beating the big guys by promoting more specific terms like individual concerts in a city, or being much more general? For example, Justin Bieber concert tickets versus Justin Bieber concert tickets Cincinnati. I go after 2 kind of keywords for ranking. One will be something like cheap Broadway tickets. Could be one, and that will then go to a sort of a multi-show page. I tend, for me personally, and as you've seen, Scott, there are just so many terms you can go after in this niche. It's kind of impossible to narrow down. It's pretty tricky. So I have those terms where I've got something like cheap Broadway tickets, and then I've got the other ones which are like Justin Bieber tickets, One Direction tickets, Miley Cyrus tour, wicked tickets, those kind of pages that I go for as well. But I don't go for the city-specific ones, but you could if you do some research and just check on the level of search volume there. Tony has said, amazing webinar, Terry. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Glad to help there, Paul. Philip has asked, are you aware of any ways to target long tails other than anchors? Absolutely. You've got your page to work with there. So, for example, you've got image file names, you've got image alt text. You can actually work some of them into the page in a non-spammy, non-keyword stuffing kind of way with some variation there. So those kind of on-page tricks you definitely have. You can have some headings there, some H2. You don't want to have 278 H1 headings on your page, but you can have a few. You can have some H2s there, and you can just work some terms in, but just try not to look like you're kind of keyword stuffing. Barry has asked also, have you able to get ticket or event rich snippets in the SERPs, or is that not possible with AFLinks? Haven't focused on it that much, Barry, and what we look at doing is trying to get the click with a strong title for the page and a strong description in there with a heavy emphasis on price. I think not all, but a huge part of this affiliate ticket niche or ticket buying audience is very price driven. So I think if you actually were to seriously go and compare the ticket prices through all these different vendors, there may not be that much difference. And even if there is, a lot of these people just aren't going to spend the time to research. If you've got the click and they've come through and they're looking for those Book of Mormon ticket discounts or whatever, you've got a really good shot at getting them if it seems like they're going to get a discount on it. People tend to be kind of lazy looking online. You'll always get your kind of bargain hunters who go and compare, and you're probably not going to go with those guys because Ticket Network might be a little bit slightly more expensive than other options, but it's obviously all about the numbers game. So we haven't really worked on the rich snippet side of things, and that is an area that it's on our want-to-do list that hopefully we can get to sooner or later. But a strong discount title and description there, you should be fine. Yep. Okay. Gentlemen and any ladies, I hope you've gotten a lot out of that, and I really do seriously encourage you to get into this niche. I've actually sort of been doing internet marketing in two different careers. One started back in 1998, and the second one kind of started more seriously in 2008. And I really wish I'd had access to a webinar like this back in 2008 because it would have saved so much heartache and time on conversion templates that don't work or niches that are really hard to engage audiences or whatever. And I think, for all of us here on the call tonight, we have been through those kind of paying our dues times of just having these affiliate sites that we built that just don't work. They're never going to work because we haven't really had someone kind of show us a great niche, a really rich niche to go after that's great on conversions, and you don't have to do any pre-selling. There's no persuasion required, and you can jump in, and if you seriously pursue this from tonight or tomorrow, in 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, you could have a bunch of pages up getting these Ticket Network commissions. And, as I say, if we were smarter, if I was smarter, I'd probably shut down everything else I'm doing and just do this, because it's such a rich niche that you could just spend a lifetime just developing this business. And even getting better at it, increasing conversions and looking, doing a lot of split testing on keywords, the text you're using on buttons and things like that. It's just, you could spend a lifetime very profitably, I think, in this niche doing really well. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. Now, Paul has added that he thinks it would be good to build a list too. Absolutely right. and I didn't cover that. If you want to build up a list of regular theatre goers, absolutely, or sports nuts, or people with a particular team, absolutely. You definitely can do that. Just to round off, Barry has finally fired in his one more bonus question, which is, would you share what platform you use for your sites? No problem, Barry, it's all good. The platform, it's really just HTML, PHP kind of sites. We don't use WordPress because we just couldn't find themes that were customizable into something that looked really, really polished and professional. So we had to, customize in-house. I'm not saying you necessarily need to do that, and possibly if you go onto somewhere like Template Monster or Theme Forest, you can find some ticket-ish sites or something that could be adapted into that, quite possibly. But we don't use a platform. It's just straight up HTML and PHP, but not WordPress. So, guys, I really urge you to jump all over this niche. I'm not in any way concerned about the competition because you've seen just how rich and deep it is and just how many keywords there are. I hope you've gotten a lot out of it, but that will only be true if you really act on it and really start setting up sites and focus and manage to kind of tune out distractions and jumping over to this WSO or that one. This is all coming to you from direct experience with success, a lot of success in this niche. So, if you've been looking for that affiliate marketing goldmine, this could well be it. I think, to me, the only slight drawback on this niche is that the income isn't recurring, but if you've got good rankings, the conversions are high, and you maintain that, then it's all good. It's all good. So thank you for coming today, and I'll put up a recording of this webinar tomorrow, and I really urge you to put your extra questions or thoughts or things if I forget them, which is a distinct possibility. Please just send an email or just write a post below the recording, and I will get to it. I won't be offended if you need to remind me a couple of times at all, because obviously there's a lot going on here. But get building those ticket sites, guys, and I will talk to you on the next webinar.